Hey everyone, just bringing a quick video around the idea of fasting. So just some background on kind of fasting, why people talk about it a lot, and kind of what my own thoughts are on it. So fasting, or intermittent fasting as what it's more commonly known, is going for a predetermined periods of time without taking on any food or calories. So people do different protocols in terms of fasting. So people try and like not eat for 16 hours, or so don't eat for 16 hours a day and have 8 hour eating windows. Or some people you might see in papers are like a 5-2 kind of diet, where 5 days of the week they eat normal and 2 days of the week they have like really low calorie days and stuff like that. Um, so essentially, like what people who are in that camp will claim is that intermittent fasting is good for controlling blood sugars and lipids, and can have hormonal responses and different things. But like the research isn't fully conclusive on it, so it's not something I'd recommend for every single person, and I'd consider it an advanced method of kind of dealing with nutrition. So people that are in maintenance or something, that it might be something that they could look at, but it's only if you've already got everything in control around your diet. And generally we find people are usually starting from a point where they can focus their attention on other stuff, which is going to be more productive. Generally we find people don't eat enough, and particularly people don't eat enough protein. So if you're further limiting the window of eating, you're going to have an effect on that. And then the other angle around intermittent fasting is that, like, a lot of the time the actual outcome is based on calorie restriction, the same as maybe going low carb, and the same as all of these things. Ultimately what they end up doing is, by restricting your window of eating, it's meaning you're probably going to take in less calories, so then that's going to have a knock-on effect for your weight. But you can get there through other ways anyways. So yeah, it can kind of confuse people a little bit. But the thing that people forget about is that every single night, unless you're sleep eating, you're intermittent fasting every single night. So what we can do is extend that fast a little bit. And what I've had in the past with clients is that if people are really struggle with like kind of snacks and get hangry and can't go like periods of time without eating food, um, I don't think that's a good relationship with food either, and I think that that's something we should be in control of more. So if you're someone that like really gets hungry if you haven't had a meal, then intermittent fasting might be a way to kind of get that kind of under control a little bit more. And like the other idea thinking behind it is that like we're like ancestrally we've developed and we've evolved that like we would have fasted for long periods of time than we do now. As we hunted and gathered food, we didn't always have access to food. So that's why we can store fat, and our bodies can function without food for certain amounts of time, like longer than we can go without water and stuff like our sleep. So that's some of the thinking behind it. So anyone that's done the elimination diet will see that for that elimination diet, we had people eating a 12-hour window. So that's a simple 12-12 intermittent fast essentially. So if you had your breakfast by 8 a.m., your dinner is by 8 p.m. Now that is a good rule of thumb for people to follow just in general anyways. And so you kind of condense your eating period into that time. And what that does is it means that you're not going to be eating too late at night, which gives your body plenty of time to digest the food before you go to bed. And you'll have seen me do it on the page before, where I've done fast for like 16-hour fast sometimes, but mainly mentally for me to be able to know that I'm in control of my kind of behaviors around food. So like that I could go 16 hours without eating, or and then I'd make up for it in that window anyway. So they're kind of some of the thoughts around intermittent fasting. Like I don't think it's something that everyone should be doing. It's not something we'd be recommending for people, but if you want to do some self experiments and actually like maybe if you want to go for a fast someday, that you finish eating by 8 and maybe try extend it to maybe 12 p.m. the next day, you're going for that's a 16-hour fast. And it is good to kind of do these self experiments and see how your body reacts. And if you are someone that like can't go 3 hours without getting hangry and biting the ear off someone, then maybe spreading distance out between meals is going to be a good exercise for you then, because you're going to have to deal with that of actually going without the food for that time. And because I don't think we should be dependent on those meals every single time that we eat. So if there is any more questions on it, just pop them in a comment below. But overall, yeah, intermittent fasting, you'll read a lot about it, but in general, it's a bit too advanced and complicated, and it's just another thing that will aim towards putting someone in calorie restriction, and there is no one solution to the whole kind of diet and losing weight and everything like that. And it's just one method of kind of getting there, but we already have you on a plan that's kind of predetermined, and there's reasons and science behind that already. So